This is a mock interview conducted by Forum IAS Academy at New Delhi. The interview panel includes eminent professors, retired bureaucrats, and other luminaries. The objective of the program is to acquaint the candidate with the format and expectations of the personality test conducted by UPSC.
So, Shambhavi, please say something about yourself and why do you want to join the IAS?
My name is Shambhavi Mishra and I'm from Amethi. Sir, I'm from Amethi district.
Okay.
Sir, I've done my B.Tech in Electronics and Communication Engineering, and after that I worked with Infosys for a year. Then I started with my civil services preparation. So I always dreamt of being an IAS officer, so I left my job and then I started preparing towards it. Meanwhile, I also got a job in Union Bank of India. I worked as an assistant manager there for around 2 years. And while working only, I got into IPS. So then after joining IPS, I did my foundation course and then I took extraordinary leave to prepare for my IAS examination.
Okay, so you have plenty of experience of private sector. You may be asked as to how you differentiate why is private sector more efficient or more target oriented or more outcome oriented, and what needs to be done. What is the lesson that one could learn from private sector in order to improve performance of government?
What I personally feel, what lessons we can draw are, firstly, the government is too much hierarchical, sir, I feel. There's too much of hierarchy. In the private sector, the hierarchy is like, and the focus on work and the output is more. Secondly, sir, we also follow more management principles in the private sector. We focus on how to extract more and more efficiency from every work and every task. And we deploy, like, sir, there were regular trainings we had. Like, every time we need to do after every month or sometime, we need to refresh our training and learnings so that we can excel in the job. So that kind of training modules can be introduced. They are already there, sir, in government also, but they can be introduced at more frequency and at people's own convenience. They can do it. Like, sir, I was in Infosys, so there were online modules also that we could access to and better and learn new techniques. So, sir, that kind of modules can be introduced in government as well. So, in the free time, the officers who are already in the field job and they don't have enough time to go to academy and train, they can use these modules to get trained and know about the best practices that are happening in the country and then can utilize them to perform more efficiently.
Okay, you said that there is a great deal of hierarchy in government. Also, you know, there is a slogan, minimum government, maximum governance. Now, do you think that the number of government servants in India is very large and needs to be reduced? Is that you meant when you said hierarchy is too much of hierarchy? Do you think we need to reduce the number? And how do we compare ourselves with other countries as regards the number of government servants in India?
Sir, what I feel is India is a large and huge country. We have a lot of population. So to better administer it, we need manpower. We need personal experience. Everything cannot be bent to technology only, sir. So there is already a huge vacancy and backlog which is in the government presently. So I don't feel, sir, that the manpower is more. What I meant by hierarchy, sir, that there are too many levels to report. So we can cut down the levels if possible, and we can have more direct interactions.
Okay, so you are interested in increasing the number. You think the number needs to be increased?
Sir, I don't feel it needs to be increased more, but the vacancies which are presently there, we can at least cater to them.
Okay.
Then we can bridge some of the gap with the help of technology also, because it is obviously a financial burden also. We have a very huge manpower, then we need to pay their salaries, we need to pay their pensions. So it's a huge financial burden also, sir. So we need to optimum utilization of resources is the best way forward as what I feel.
So since you have some experience of police, you may be asked as to what kind of reforms would you suggest for the police. Supposing you were the Home Secretary and Chief Minister asks you, please suggest how do we improve productivity of police or how do we reduce crime. What 2 or 3 suggestions would you like to give? What would be your suggestions to the minister?
Sir, I was saying that the first focus I feel we should have is the constabulary. The constable level employees, they are around 80% of the police force, and the rest only 20%, sir. So we must focus on the 80%, the bulk of them. They need to be better trained, they need to be sensitized, and their needs to be catered also, sir, as they are hugely overburdened. So there are many vacancies and they're hugely overburdened. So there needs to be catered also, sir. So if the police people are actually motivated, they'll perform their best. Secondly, I feel it's the technology is one of the solution, one of the best solutions we can have, like the online FIR systems, the cyber systems. They need to be better efficiently utilized. So that way we can have reduced manpower, better efficiency, and better output, sir. And thirdly, sir, the investigation needs to be improved also. Uh, our conviction rates are in the country is really low, like it's less than 50% as per the latest NCRB report. So, major function of the policing is crime prevention and crime detection, sir. So I feel that we need to work on that level also. We need to, like, sir, when we compare data of various countries, obviously there are many ifs and buts in that also. But countries like US, Japan, China, they have conviction rates of more than 90%, sir. So this shows that there's impeccable investigation which is happening. This is also, sir, because of the evidence collection. Like we should use latest scientific methods, the forensic technology. These kind of things will help us make better investigations. So the conviction rate can increase. So, sir, basic principle of policing which I learned during my training is there must be certainty of punishment, sir. That's better thing, not severity of punishment.
Okay, since you are from Amethi in UP, they may ask you about the comparative performance of Central UP versus Eastern UP. Which of these 2 regions is Central UP doing better or Eastern UP doing better?
Sir, I feel development-wise, if you will see, Abad region has performed a bit better than the Eastern UP sector. Mostly, sir, it's because some of the industries we have there, so there's some industrial development also. But sir, mostly I would say that it's kind of a similar level of development. Like if you will compare Western UP and Eastern UP, there's a drastic difference in the level of development that we have. So Eastern UP in that way is still lagging behind only.
Lastly, since it's generally when women appear before interview board, there are questions on gender issues. So there was a report called Global Gender Gap Report, which was released about 5-6 months back, which showed that India did not do so well on gender issues. What is wrong? Why is India not doing so well on, say, women's employment or child sex ratio?
Sir, what I feel is the changes need to be comprehensive. They cannot just be imposed from the government side, sir. The society needs to function well, the family needs to function well, the patriarchal mindset which is prevalent in the society needs to be catered as well. So it needs to be a conjoined effort, a multifaceted effort, sir. It cannot be just be the government with coming up with new schemes and policies. Obviously, government is one of the very critical roles, sir. The important schemes which can be implemented more efficiently, and we can have schemes like Bihar government, sir, I would say has done some commendable job here. The entire we have reserved around more than 50% seats, sir, in the sarpanch are there and women panchayat members are there in Bihar. In the police officers also, sir, around 33% of reservation they have done for women. So these kind of steps can be taken so the political representation of women can be better done. Then the schemes like Stand Up India scheme, which caters to women's financial needs, they said, G, these needs to be done a bit better way. So, sir, there needs to be a multifaceted effort. So, only just the government doing everything is not the solution. The society needs to be empowered. The woman needs to feel that she needs to change or she needs to take the first step.
Okay, now I pass on to Rahul. Rahul will ask you questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hello, Shambhavi.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. So you have worked in Union Bank of India, right?
Yes, sir.
So do you think that the merger of banks only hides the problem rather than resolving it?
Sir, what I personally feel is, sir, merger is a very good step which the government has taken. Sir, instead of very small banks which actually create a financial burden, because there is issue of recapitalization also. For the banks to function properly, they needs to maintain a capital reserve with them. So every time the public money, the taxpayers' money going into the recapitalization of weak banks, it's better, sir, if we can merge the weaker banks together and they can together come as and become a strong entity, sir. Like the SBI was merged and different banks were merged with the SBI. It is now one of the top 50 banks in the world. So, sir, the total capital reserve, if it will increase, it can give better loans at lower interest rate. It can function well. So, I don't feel that, yeah, there can be operational issues definitely in bank mergers, because the branches and the bank temperament, the employees' temperament can be different there. But with slowly and steady steps, if we do the proper planning, sir, I feel it is a really good step which is being taken.
Bank mergers have led to a lot of rationalization of bank branches. Do you think it is going to lead to a loss of jobs or at least less creation of future jobs in banks?
Sir, what I feel is no, sir. I don't feel it will. Yeah, up to some extent, maybe it will affect the jobs. But sir, mostly there's more of rationalization. Like I'll give you a personal example. I worked in Union Bank of India, and I'm still in contact with many of the previous employees there. So Andhra Bank was merged in it. Andhra Bank had more branches in the southern region than Union Bank of India. Now the Andhra Bank, there was a huge shortage of employees there. Now and the work was not being done so in a such a better manner. Now the employees of Union Bank of India are being sent over there, and there is better rationalization of employees. Now employees are also getting all India exposure, new type of jobs, and the people is also getting served well. So, sir, I feel it's not about the jobs will get reduced, but it will get more rationalized, and the resources will be better utilized.
Okay, so tell me, Shambhavi, what is a bad bank?
Bad bank, sir. Sir, a bad bank is a bank. It's basically a government bank, an entity created to cater to the non-performing assets of the bank. Like it will buy the non-performing assets of the bank and then later try to resolve it. This will clear the balance sheet of the banks, and now they can either not focusing on the provisioning requirements, they can cater to the loan requirements. So, bad bank is a better way to clear up the funds of the bank.
Don't you think that a bad bank misaligns the incentives for managers of public sector banks? Now they can pass the loans. If the loan performs well, it goes in the bank's balance sheet. And if the loan performs badly, it goes in the balance sheet of the bad bank. So they are not losing anything and gaining everything.
Sir, I definitely feel that is a big issue in it. There can be a problem of such a moral hazard, but we need to have checks and balances in that case, I feel, sir. And that having a bad bank is a good solution, but it cannot be the only solution, sir. We need to have a proper rationalization of bank. Like the Indradhanush scheme the government came up with a proper rationalization, the bank board bureau to for the appointments of high level employees, and the different kind of schemes, the rationalization, so we need to work holistically, sir. Bad bank is one of the solutions, and we need to work in a better manner.
Okay, why do we even have public sector banks? Why don't we completely privatize the banking sector? Because now we have ICICI, we have HDFC, we have Axis, we have RBL, Bandhan Bank. So don't you think that the banking industry is mature enough that we can privatize it completely?
Sir, what I still feel, sir, I worked in a rural branch, a semi-urban branch. Most of the public I catered was majorly not that literate enough. So they were not even aware of the basic schemes. And sir, the private sector doesn't cater to them so well, like the KCC scheme. The government banks have a duty, a mandate to serve the public, but the private sector bank, they are mostly working on the basis of profit only. So there are many government schemes like the small savings scheme. We were getting targets in the bank that you need to implement it. You need to cater to the public. There was a responsibility on the public sector banks. That kind of responsibility cannot be imposed on the private sector banks. And now also a large population still is not financially stable. So we need to cater to our larger population, sir. So It's the duty of the government, I feel, sir, that they need to cater to the requirement of the public as well. So public sector banks are a necessity.
Okay, thank you. You have also worked in Infosys, right?
Yes, sir.
Indian corporate sector has repeatedly faced the problem of succession planning. We saw it in Infosys, we saw it in Tata's, we have seen it even in political parties and cricket teams. Do you think that there is some Indian cultural problem regarding succession planning?
Sir, what I feel is missing here is not the succession planning, but a better corporate governance standard. So they need to have a better corporate structure, better governance structure, sir. So they need to obviously plan better. They cannot just go and make changes randomly because a lot of population believes in them. They have a huge employment sector, and obviously there's a multinational companies, so they have a reputation to cater as well. So I feel the corporate governance needs to be strengthened in this such cases.
Okay, so can you be more specific how corporate governance reforms can help the CEOs or the CMDs to change seamlessly without creating a ruckus in the market?
Sir, what I feel is the board of directors is one of the most important entity because they are like directly responsible to the shareholders for their functioning. So the board of directors needs to be strengthened. There must be independent directors. There must be proper auditing mechanisms. If there are checks and balances of these kind, then the CEOs will be more responsible towards them. They cannot do as and what they want to do. Also, sir, the executive chairman is too much powerful in our systems, so the executive chairman's power needs to be a little reduced, and the independent members' power needs to be increased. The representation of women members needs to be increased. So this is what I feel, sir, that if the board of members is strong enough and they're more responsible to the common shareholders and stakeholders of the society, then the CEO will himself or herself be in a position like they will be responsible, more responsibly functioning.
Okay, so you are working in Indian police services, right?
Yes, sir.
So how do you define an encounter?
So policing obviously is a service, but initially when it was envisaged, like we have the Police Act 1860. So, sir, police was basically envisaged as a force, a civil force, which will which will make the society more orderly. It will make the rule of the government, the present government, like it was the British Raj at that time. So we are still functioning on the similar principles. It needs to become more of a service, like to properly justify to its name. It should become more of a public service rather than just a force.
Oh, sorry. Perhaps you didn't listen the question. You did not listen to the question properly. I want you to define what is encounter,
So
because
encounter.
because we have heard a lot of police officers. They are encounter specialists. So I wish to know what is exactly an encounter.
Okay, sir. Sir, encounter is an extra legal situation in which a accused person is he is being shot at or he is being killed, and the proper rule of law is not being followed in such cases. Sir, it can be like such situations, like dire situations where actually the officer needs to work in his or her self defense. But mostly the cases are like fake encounters, sir, where the rule of law is actually not being applied, and it's wrong. It's a very wrong thing, sir. Like you are not even giving the person a fair trial, which is the basis of a democracy. This is the basis of a justice.
Okay, so recently there were media reports that the number of encounters in Uttar Pradesh have risen. So, can we take it as an indicator of the worsening law and order situation in Uttar Pradesh?
Sir, yes, I would definitely take it as, because sir, police I feel is the basis of society. It is one of the most strongest pillars which will keep the society intact. And if the police is not performing well, sir, actually we cannot comment like that because we don't exactly know if the encounters were fake or they were justified. But the number of rising encounters is a bad indicator because I feel the police is not able to cater in the proper rule of law way. The proper regular channels are not functioning properly, so they are resorting to such methods. So I feel, sir, obviously it's not a good sign for a democracy to function.
That's it from my side. Now I would like to pass on. Thank you.
All right. Hello, Shambhavi.
Good afternoon, sir.
So And I see you are from Amethi, right?
Yes, sir.
A very hot political zone
Yes, sir.
of Indian political system, right?
Yes, sir.
People from the Gandhi family have been elected from there.
Yes, sir.
How many?
Sir, Sanjay Gandhi was the first MP from there, and then later Rajiv Gandhi, till his death, was the MP from there. Then Rahul Gandhi had been a long-term MP, sir. Till recent elections, like 2019 elections, only Smriti Irani replaced her. I'm not sure about this, sir, but I think Sonia Gandhi also once was the MP of Amethi. So,
Yeah.
like,
Currently, who is there?
yes, sir.
Currently, who is the MP?
Sir, Smriti Irani.
Okay, all right. So tell me, despite so many influential people being elected from Amethi, why is there still so much backwardness? Why is Amethi not becoming something like, industrial hub like Noida or Gurgaon or Mumbai? Why is it not becoming something like that?
Sir, firstly, what I feel is it does have a lot of industries. It's not like it is not having industries, but there are many issues in that belt, like there are infrastructural issues, the power cuts issues. Then the population is not that empowered, not that literate. Then,
So
sir,
what you are
it is
suggesting
majorly an, yes, sir.
the problems you are suggesting are more government based. The government is not able to fix it.
Sir, yes, I would say there had been lacunas and neglect in that sector. Sir, because I have been a resident there, I would like to say, sir, that till presently, like, if I'm not wrong, sir, from my place, I stay in Jagdishpur to Lucknow, which is the capital city. The distance is just 90 kilometers, sir. But it took more than 2 hours to reach there normally. So any industry needs a smooth traffic. That was one of the issues, sir. Now, presently, there are highways being developed. So the systems are functioning well now, I think. But, sir, obviously, there are many lacunas on the part of the government as well.
What you're telling me are the problems. You're not telling the reasons.
Sir, I would not say political neglect, but up to some extent, it's kind of true, sir. Political neglect. There's too much of politicization. In fact, they shows that also. There's too much of there are too many political parties engaged in the contest here, sir. So too much of politicization is leading to some neglect also of the same area, because there's contestation that who will develop it and who will take the credit over it. So one of the issues is that also. Secondly, sir, there are not many educational institutions. So if the population, if the youth population is not skilled, it's not educated, then there are very less opportunities. We don't have many good educational institutions there, and we have international level institutions, but we don't have very basic institutions which are mostly needed. That is one of the basic problems I faced, sir, living there. I had to move to Kanpur for studies. I didn't have a good institution there so that I could stay there and study well. There are not very good job opportunities also, sir. There are industries, but very high scale industries. They're not very basic. MSME industries are not well developed there. So these are the areas we need to focus. Like, sir, it's a good agricultural hub. So we can focus on the food processing sector. But there are many lacunas in that sector.
Okay, okay. Can you tell me what do you understand by the term rule of law?
Sir, according to me, rule of law is says that law is the supreme power. Like everybody has to abide by the law, and nobody can work on their own whims and fancies. So even if it's the prime minister of the country or it's a poor peasant, they have to follow the same law, and law is supreme.
And what role does law play in, or sorry, the rule of law plays in the developmental process of a nation?
Sir, rule of law is most important because it entails equality. If there is equality, there is equality of opportunity, then people will be more willing. They'll be getting opportunities to explore their potential. So they'll perform well. Then, sir, if there's a rule of law, there will be justice in the society. If there is justice in the society, then the society will function well. Everybody will be happy. There will be peace in the society. If there is no rule of law, everybody is functioning according to their own whims and fancies, then nobody will follow any law. There will be ruckus in the society. There will be chaos in the society. So, for the developmental process, peace is very much essential, sir. Industries only come, investment only come if there is peace in that society. You can see that, sir, Gujarat, Maharashtra, these are some of the states which had been very peaceful. and there is good level of development there. So peace is obviously one of the reasons for good investments coming and good development happening, the industry development particularly.
So suppose I list down all the reasons why Uttar Pradesh is lagging behind in the race of development. Would you place lack of rule of law at the top?
Yes, sir, I feel a rule of law and law and order had been a big condition, big situation for Uttar Pradesh. Also, sir, Uttar Pradesh has some other geographical limitations also. Like it's
Okay.
not port connected, it has no direct connectivity with any port. It's an inland continental location. Mostly it's plain, so it's overpopulated. Uh, and it's a majorly an agriculture belt, sir. So there are other issues, there are infrastructure issues also. So there are other issues as well, sir.
Okay. But I see you've taken philosophy as optional. Any particular reason?
Sir, no particular reason as such, but I was actually very much interested to study further. Like I once studied some articles of Adi Shankaracharya, and I really adored them. So I thought this is a good opportunity for me to like further explore the subject, and I really liked it, sir.
Can you tell me what do you understand by the term multiculturalism?
Multicultural. Sir, multiculturalism is multiple cultures, multiple people staying together and respecting each other cultures, respecting each other's societies and norms, staying together peacefully in a state.
Is it just that staying together? Is it multiculturalism?
No, sir. Staying together is not just multiculturalism, but the respect factor is more important here. Like we need to respect each other's culture. It's not just about the diversity, but we need to be sensitive towards each other cultures.
Do you think India in recent times is losing its multicultural credentials?
Sir, I feel India is a very big country, and at the surface, you can see various issues happening, various controversies. But deep down, sir, I feel still our social fabric is very strong, sir. Still, in during Holi, the Muslims and Hindus they come together, they play Holi. During Eid, the Hindus go and greet the Muslims. Similarly, with Christianity and all the cultures, we are still together, happily, peacefully living. Obviously, sir,
So
there are issues. I'm not
what
denying that there are not issues there.
age old cliched answer, right? So this has been happening for ages now. Everybody from different religion come together and play Holi and celebrate Eid. So these are all bookish answers. What I want to know is your opinion. Do you think India is losing its multicultural credentials in the recent times?
Sir, I frankly feel there has been some level of majoritarianism which is happening in the society presently. And because of it, there is some social polarization also happening. There is too much of hate culture which is developing nowadays. There have been various controversies around it. But, sir, on the other hand, if you will see, then there is intelligentsia. There are people who are coming out and questioning such things also. So, if there is a CA protest, everybody is coming together and protesting for that as well. Now, there are both sides. These are two sides of the coin. So, if there are problems, there are solutions as well. So, I don't see that I can only just be saying that no, India is not multicultural anymore or not respecting its diversity. Obviously, sir, there are issues. I'm not denying that there are issues, but I'm sure, sir, India is a robust country, and with time, with more understanding, we'll slowly solve them. We have a
Okay.
robust institutional mechanism as well.
Okay. What do you understand by what was Lasky's theory on sovereignty? Do you know?
Last case difference sovereignty. Yes, sir, I know. Sir, Lasky said that sovereign is the law. Sovereign is supreme.
Did Lasky say
Sir,
that?
I'm sorry, I'm not able to recollect exactly. Sir, I'm sorry. Uh, I think Lasky was the one who was more bent towards democratic system. He was more towards federalism. He was about power distribution rather than a single concentration of power
Believe that there
centers.
should not be a single sovereign, right?
Sir, there can be levels of sovereignty. Like we follow in our country. We are sovereign as a nation. We
No,
have
no,
some
I'm not
policies.
asking about
Yes, sir.
your opinion. I'm not asking your opinion. I was asking what was Lasky's opinion on sovereignty.
Okay, sir. Sir, I what I recollect, if I recollect correctly, sir, Lasky's opinion was more towards a democracy. There should be multiple power centers. The power must not be concentrated in just one center.
Can you connect the theory of sovereignty towards what is happening currently in the Russia and Ukraine border?
Yes, sir, definitely. Sovereignty is a big issue I feel in Ukraine crisis. So Ukraine is a sovereign nation, and sovereignty implies that you are completely free in taking your own decisions. So Ukraine, as a sovereign nation, has the decision to abide by, like, to join NATO or not to join NATO. But what Russia is doing is presently actually breaching its sovereignty. It's again forcing it to follow a particular way of life through war. So I feel, yeah, sir, sovereignty is a big issue in the present Ukraine crisis. But
Okay.
Russia also, yes, sir.
And you like watching movies also?
Yes, sir.
What kind of, any particular genre that you watch?
No, sir. Like, I watch all kind of genres and all kind of nationalities also, sir. Like, I
Okay.
like watching Japanese and other movies as well.
On the Oscars this time?
Sir, I'm not able to recollect. I'm sorry. I'll just check it.
Best actor, can you recall that? Who was given the Best Actor award?
No, sir. I didn't think I followed.
I give you a hint. He was recently banned from the Oscars for 10 years.
Yes, sir. I'm not able to recollect his name. I remember the incident you are talking about. Like, he
Okay.
did an
Which actor-
inappropriate action. Yes, sir.
Which actor was involved in the incident that I'm talking about?
Sir, I'm not able to recollect properly what
That's
was
it.
the name.
Alok sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
So Shambhavi, you are in police. Would you tell me something about a co-location case being investigated? Co-location case relates to National Stock Exchange, and it is being investigated by a leading agency of our country. Would you tell me something about the case?
Sir, I'm not very clear about it, but as per my knowledge, the head of the SEBI Institute, head of the NSE, Mrs. Chitra Venkatraman, if I'm not wrong, sir, she like allowed some she exchanged the private information which she was only privy to with some external elements. She called them as some spiritual element with whom she shared the information. And there's another businessman who was getting benefited because of that information. Now there's a CBI case against both of them, and there's an inquiry going on.
Okay. Well, there is a big case of 1992 Harshad Mehta scam, which relates to, again, capital market. Can you throw some light on that?
Harshad Mehta scam. Sir, I'm not very sure about the whole issue, but as per I know, sir, there was some internal leakage of information, and he knew the information prior, and he used to manipulate with the stock market. And because of this manipulation, he made a lot of money from that. So one issue was that, and sir, another issue, if I'm not wrong, then the banks also issued him without any collateral, issued him various loans, and he was later, when the whole scam was revealed, he was not even able to pay back. So there was a huge amount. So there was some back handling in that case as well.
My dear friend, what is difference between cryptocurrency and currency issued by Reserve Bank of India?
So, the currency issued by Reserve Bank of India is a fiat currency. It's basically governed by the central bank, and it has control over its supply and everything. So it's assured that it's written that I'll pay the bearer the sum of this much amount. But sir, in case of a cryptocurrency, it's firstly it's a digital currency, sir, and there's no central authority. It's completely decentralized. There's nobody looking at how the transactions are happening, and it's more digital. And various people are involved in the transaction, and it's the blockchain technology through which the transactions are happening, and they are mostly anonymous. Like, nobody can know that who is transacting with whom and what amount. And it's it's safe for the user to use. It's anonymous, it's safe, but otherwise it's really dangerous also, because it can be used for various illegal activities.
Shambhavi, you have chosen your second preference is Indian Foreign Service. Let me know from you, are we not a very hypocrite or fake kind of a country that we are buying cheap oil from the same country which has invaded other country called Ukraine? So are we not hypocritical in terms of our foreign policy?
Sir, as per my knowledge, sir, foreign policy is all about minimaxing, that is minimizing the harm and maximizing the gains. We must look upon our benefits, our national security, and the benefit of our citizens. That is our most important priority, sir. So we need oil, sir, to survive. We need energy security. So it is a good opportunity for us. Why should we not take it, sir? And obviously, sir, on ideological grounds, if other countries are saying such things, sir, Europe is also taking oil from Russia, while Europe is one of the worst critics of Russia in this case.
You are from Amethi, and
Yes, sir.
can you tell me, Shambhavi, how many Vidhan Sabha constituencies fall in Amethi Lok Sabha constituency?
Sir, there are four Vidhan Sabha constituencies that fall.
I believe you must have followed recent UP elections closely.
Yes, sir.
Right. A term has cropped up called Labharthi. Labharthi means the person, family which has got some benefits from the government, right? And one of the reasons is being given that the reason of victory of this government is that they have benefited a lot many people, so they have voted for the government again. Does this mean that the politics of benefit and lab is now taking over the politics of casteism and religion? Do you agree with that?
Sir, I would say yes, sir. Partially, it is true. Now people are getting more development oriented and not just limiting themselves to the caste and just the religion domain. There are still functioning like that, but yes, sir. Obviously, I feel now the development is also a major issue because it is a huge population with huge demographic dividend. So the youth needs jobs, good education opportunities. So we are not so much concerned about which caste are we in, rather than which good opportunity I can get in education field, which good job opportunities can I get. So that is a more important question, sir.
Shambhavi, what is Sensex?
Sir, Sensex means sensitive index. Sir. It is the index of the Bombay Stock Exchange, in which, if I'm not wrong, I guess the top 30 companies they rationalize, and there's a common index that they show. It indicates how the stock market is functioning.
Can you tell us the fundamental reasons of the crisis that Sri Lanka is facing?
Yes, sir. There are certain issues with Sri Lanka, sir. What are there? Actually, the first of all, sir, there was a terrorist attack, the Easter bombing case. After that, only the tourism started coming down in Sri Lanka. And tourism is a major booster, like the major forex provider, sir, in Sri Lanka. It's a major economic booster. And then the COVID also came. So these two reasons combined, the tourism dropped, because of which the forex reserve dropped. One of the reason is that. Secondly, sir, there are some policy failures also in Sri Lanka's case. Like the government initially reduced the VAT, because of which the revenues dropped. Secondly, they started an organic only policy, because of which the production of rice, tea, such kind of commodities also fell. So essential commodities, there was a huge shortage of essential commodities also. And thirdly, sir, what there is a huge debt burden on Sri Lanka, especially to China, sir. There's a debt trap diplomacy which China played with Sri Lanka, and now Sri Lanka is in a huge debt burden. Most of it is towards China only, sir. So these three, four issues combined have landed in such a poor situation in Sri Lanka presently.
Tell me, what is your opinion on the farm laws which were first introduced and then were taken back?
Sir, I feel farm laws were good, sir. They were about reforms in the agriculture sector. They had really good provisions which could have boosted our agriculture sector, and the problems it was facing, it could have been resolved. But sir, there were obviously some issues also. So I felt that there should have been more negotiations, there should have been more discussions on the law, which and the lacunas which the farmers were feeling. Like there were various issues also, sir, with the law, which the farmers were feeling, like their contract farming and all. They were apprehensive of the fact that maybe the land will be taken away and it will be corporatized. So, sir, more safeguards could have been provided, more negotiations could have been done. And sir, there was a report also of the Supreme Court committee which said that majority of the farmers in India didn't want the farm laws to go, sir. There was only minority percentage which actually was opposing the laws.
Yesterday, Reserve Bank of India has announced its latest policy. Can you give us an idea about the inflation rate which they have projected for 22-23?
Sir, they've projected more than 5% inflation rate, if I'm not wrong. They've also gone down, the growth projections are also coming down.
Can you tell us precise rate that they have projected? It's not 5%.
Sir, if you allow me to guess, sir, it's around 5.7%, if I recollect.
In your form, you wrote you are interested in movies also.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Have you seen this Gangubai Kathiawadi?
No, sir, I have not seen.
All right. You are a police lady, so let me tell you, let me pose a question from that. In this movie, the lady said that, proposed that this prostitution should be made legal. And her argument was that we are offering services as all doctors, engineers, and others are offering. So, where we are also offering services which is useful to society, so we should be made legal workers of the society. That was made in 60s, right? If the same solution is made today, what's your take on that? Should this be made legalized because it could not be stopped?
Sir, what I feel is consent is most important thing, anything. So, sir, if somebody willingly wants to go into such services, they should be allowed. So, the services should be legalized. And, sir, I feel that being legal, there will be various safeguards also for them. So, if we completely illegal, like if we make such prostitution things illegal, they'll go into the black market. Then there will be more exploitation of such things. So I always feel that regulation is the better way forward. If they are legalized, then there can be proper safeguards for them. There can be protection which can be provided to the community. Their rights can be like more respected, and especially like sir, the third gender also is kind of involved in it. So they are like they are very they are not getting opportunities in the normal world, and now they are in that profession only. So their rights must be respected, sir. So if rather than making it illegal, it would be better to legalize it and regulate it in a better way. So their rights can be respected.
Well, a few days back, Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu met Prime Minister Modi and said that Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu should be allowed to help Tamils in Sri Lanka. Right? A Chief Minister of the state should be allowed to help Tamils in Sri Lanka. Is that possible?
Sir, I'm not extremely sure about it, but I feel, sir, it can be possible because the foreign policy is also about like regional connect also. So Tamil Nadu have a good regional connect with Sri Lankan Tamils. They have huge ethnic ties with them. So it can they can make a gesture to help. So I'm not sure about the nitty-gritties how it can be done, but I feel it should be done.
Suppose, for example, Mamata Banerjee tomorrow says that she wants to be friendly with Pakistan, despite the fact central government does not want it. Is that possible?
Sir, I feel foreign policy is mainly the prerogative of the central government. So if central government allows, then only the state government can take any action.
Mainly or exclusively? Or it's on a concurrent list?
No, sir, exclusively foreign policy is with the central government only.
Well, tell us something about the positive impact of Ukraine crisis on Indian economy.
Sir, positive impact on India. Sir, one of the things I feel is it is an opportunity for us, sir, which we can utilize. We can become the mediator, sir. We have good relations with Russia. We have good relations with Ukraine. We have maintaining good relations with both the West and Russia, and in fact with both the powers. So we can become the mediators here. This is an opportunity for us to become the leaders we want to be. So if we utilize it properly, if we go ahead with the negotiating table, like many countries have even proposed it, that India should take the lead here. So if India takes the lead here, it will become a major achievement for us, a major diplomatic achievement for us.
Have you heard about the book called Clash of Civilizations?
Sir, no, sir. I haven't.
Okay, no issue, no issue. You also mentioned that you write poetry and short story.
Yes, sir, I do.
Can you name any well-known short story writer in Hindi?
Sir, I am a huge fan of Premchand, sir.
But he never wrote short story. He was a man of long stories and long novels.
No, sir, he wrote a lot of short stories, sir. I have read like many of his short stories.
Could you tell me something about Mote Ram Ka Satyagraha by Premchand?
Sir, I don't think I've read this one which you are mentioning.
No idea?
No, sir. Sorry.
Okay, no issues. Would you tell me something about Eidgah story of Premchand?
Yes, sir, definitely. The story was about, sir, a small orphan boy, and he was going to Eid celebrations along to the mosque with his friends to the Mela, and then he uses all his savings not to buy any sweets for himself, but he was more concerned with how his grandmother's hand got burned. So he buy the thongs for her so that her hands don't get burned while making rotis for him. So it was a very emotional story, sir.
Can you tell me something about the main candidates of French presidential elections?
French presidential elections. Sorry, sir, I'm not following it.
Okay, wish you all the best.